Sometimes when we get out on the water, things just don't go our way. We get out there thinking things are going to be a great day, only to find out that we're just going to have some close calls, and those close calls are not going to wind up going our way, just like some of the things we're going to explore in this week's episode of Boneheaded Boaters of the Week. Far too often we get out there on the water and we think things are going to be nothing but sunshine and rainbows, but the reality in boating is that's just not always the case. Now, many of the times, these can be self-inflicted wounds. A lot of the times when things go wrong out on the water, it's probably because we made a mistake somewhere along the line. Now, these mistakes can come in many different forms and they can originate from many different methods, but one of the most common methods these mistakes will come from is just that. They are mistakes. They happen to be something we possibly forgot to do in our boating day, and it doesn't take much. Just one minor little mistake and all of a sudden it can turn into a much larger mishap that you have to deal with later in your day. With so many things going on in boating, sometimes those mistakes of forgetting things are just so easy to make because there's so many things you have to pay attention to. Did you put the drain plug in? Did you batten everything down? Is everything set up where it's supposed to be set up? But then even when you're out on the water, are you watching all the elements around you, including wake? Then of course, sometimes the things that go wrong will be no fault of your own. I mean, let's be honest, sometimes Mother Nature's gonna step in and do what Mother Nature does. And then of course, there's gonna be those mistakes that happen because of others you run into or run into you on the water. So as a captain, what can you control? Well, that's just it. Those are the things you have to look out for as a captain. You can't worry about what Mother Nature's gonna do so much, or what's gonna happen naturally due to natural forces and causes. All you can really worry about is the things that are under your control. The things that you can grab by the hands and say, hey, you know what? I'm not gonna let this happen by taking these extra precautions to make sure everything goes a little smoother in my boating day. So when you're out there boating, you always want to make sure you're using every tool at your disposal to have the most safe experience. Using safety straps, making sure all your equipment is up to date and ready to go, making sure you have all the proper safety equipment and everything you need on your boat. Now sometimes I know this stuff's easier said than done. I mean, we all get hyped up, especially those first warm days of the spring where we're ready to get out there on the boat no matter what and just roll. So sometimes it's easy just to show up at the boat, drop it in the water and say let's roll without doing a few just safety or equipment checks, such as dropping it in the water and forgetting to check if your battery's even charged, and the next thing you know, you're out there on the water and you can't even get the motor started. Or one I see really commonly forgot is you put the boat up for the winter and you just leave it. You show back up in the spring, you're ready to roll, so you head out there, drop the boat in the water, but forget you never pulled the drain plug and the hole's full of water, and the next thing you know, you can't even get up on plane.
Hold on to your horses.
The dudes in the cabin, they're just like, I'm trying to see. Look, I'm getting there. It's a beautiful day, but I don't know where the going.
Oh no. Hold on to your horses.
Dude, what is wrong with that?
Now, of course, as we mentioned, it's pretty easy to get in the boat and try and get it going without doing those safety checks, but you also need to do some safety checks when you leave the boat. Every time you leave the boat, make sure you've gone through everything once, twice, just to make sure it's all done and buttoned up correctly, or you may show back up at the boat and all of a sudden find out things aren't as you left them and you're having to jump in the water and do some work, and that's never any fun for anybody, especially when you never quite know who's going to join you in the water while you do that work. So go ahead and take these tips. Whatever you do, make yourself a checklist of things you need to do every single time you go down to the boat, and then a checklist of everything you need to do every single time you leave the boat. This way, whenever you show up, you know you've already checked everything and you should be good to go, because the last thing you want to happen is find yourself in a situation where it's imperative that your boat is running in tip-top shape, and all of a sudden you find out it's not. That could have some pretty catastrophic results. Thanks for watching, crew. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Boneheaded Boaters of the Week. You ever see anything crazy happening on your waterways? Be sure to hit us up on Facebook or Instagram and let us know, and you might find your stories over here. Just like Brad Birdie, Emily Michelle 06, Jeremy Hildebrandt, Laddie Rano, Super Chris, TGW21, and Adam Coolidge did this week. And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and drop an anchor on the subscribe button here.